I said this before the interview, but I've been following you for a while since Norman's Rare Guitars and watching how you evolved that business and the social media presence over there. But how did this all come together? How did Gibson come together?
Gibson came together. So Cesar, who's the CMO of Gibson, was a customer of mine at Norm's, and he used to watch the show, and I used to light up his Amex, once a month for something good. That was one of the cards I had on file. It's like, okay, yeah, I'll send it over. And out of the blue one day, he called me probably 3 or 4 months before the bankruptcy was announced, and kind of gave me the lowdown on what was going on, just to put me on the front side of it, and then asked me to do some press for him when they did the announcement and everything. I was at Norm's, and kind of reached the end of what you can do somewhere.
Of course.
When you're smoking pot at work all day and you're still successful, and the show's doing great, and you're selling more guitars, it's like, maybe I'm not being challenged enough, and the schedule was hectic and crazy, and I had to work on weekends, and I've got 2 small kids, and it's just like, I wanted something different, and I called Cesar. I'm like, dude, what do you got for me? Get me out. I need something. What do you got for me? And I think it kind of took him back a second, and it was, I'm going to get back to you. Don't do anything stupid. I'll get back to you. And about 2 weeks later, I was in Beverly Hills having lunch with JC and Cesar, and they kind of just invented this role for me.
It's perfect. And especially because when people think about guitars online, a lot of people think about what you did at Norman's. And I mean, it introduced so many people to that world, and so many people to vintage guitars and just learning more. Dave's in the process of learning about guitars as well right now. So of course we'll get into more technical questions, but with your new role, like what exactly as the director of brand experience are you responsible for at Gibson?
It's a good question. I spent the first 18 months of my job figuring that out. Look, if you think of the company as like a tribe, right? JC's the chief of the tribe. He's the CEO. My role, I'm like the troubadour, or the guy sitting around the campfire telling everybody the story of our people, and passing the tradition on. So being kind of the chief storyteller is my role, and whether that's done through content on Gibson TV, whether that's done at my new project I've been working on for the last few years, the Gibson Garage, which is just about ready.
That's in Nashville, right?
Yeah, the Gibson Garage is going to be in downtown Nashville. Very exciting. When people see that, my job will make more sense, but it's one of those things I couldn't talk about for the first, year and a half I was there. But the cat's kind of out of the bag now, and we're getting really, really close. COVID pandemic has made this very, very difficult, and it's still kind of a moving target as to when people are going to be able to come see it. But it's almost done, and it's spectacular. It's my 13-year-old guitar nerd. Every fantasy I've ever had in my life, I got to put into this place, and it turned out exactly how I envisioned it.
So what has Nashville and Music City been like throughout this pandemic, in your experience and just as a whole?
I mean, it's weird because it's such a live music town.
Right.
Like you can't walk by a place without hearing a band play at like any time of day.
Fact.
So that is that's weird. It's also a big bachelorette party town, and usually every 3 to 5 minutes of like a party bus with Shania Twain, Man, I Feel Like a Woman is on, and a bunch of girls screaming. So that noise in the city's kind of been gone.
Dude, I was there in October because I write for CSAC, and most of our label people that we work with are out of Nashville. It's like my second home. I'm there pretty much constantly. Yeah. And I've only been there once this year. And when I tell you, not seeing the bachelorette parties was the weirdest part. There's been so many times we've been playing shows at either like 12th and Porter or like the Family Wash or the fucking Basement, and just outside is like a flatbed like hay truck with like a bunch of bachelorettes out the back, and you're like, I don't even know what I'm doing here. But I will say, because most of your time that you've spent in Nashville, you've been there for what, like a year and a half now?
June will be 2 years. Yeah, since I officially moved. I started flying. I was flying back and forth between LA and Nashville every week for the first 3 or 4 months, but my 2-year anniversary is like in a couple weeks.
I think Colin knows more about you than you know about you.
Listen, I told you, I'm a fucking fan. This is like a thing where I'm fucking excited.
Dude, that's awesome. Thank you.
Well, I also know